Welcome back to day 10 of the 100 horror films in 31 days, and I got in 5 films today. First up is 2009's Thirst. This is Park Chan-wook, who did Old Boy, and it's an interesting take on the vampire mythos because this one kind of leans a little bit towards the strategy that let the right one in. Those type of films, it's more of a modern updating of the vampire legend without the fangs and all the gothic type trimmings. This is a film that's dealing with as much as dealing with love and conflict, philosophical conflict, as it is vampirism, because the lead in this is a priest who becomes a vampire and just has to have blood. He inadvertently, it wasn't. I don't think it was intentional. It just happened, and then of course the plot takes over in terms of a love story between the conflicted priest and his feelings for being a priest versus his lust, sexual and for blood. And he gets a girl involved in this whole thing, and so there's an interplay between those two that takes precedence really more so than, say, the vampirism elements. It's a film. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood to watch it. It's a good film. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. But I think a lot of people just rave about it and rate it much higher than I did. I had a hard time getting into it. I don't know. I need to give it another try, I guess. It's got a commentary track. This is one I'm just gonna have to give it another try on another day. Next up is Return to Horror High, which I had never seen before. It's 1987, Return to Horror High, and of course the big claim to fame here with this film is George Clooney's debut as a security guard. He gets bumped off. He's like the first victim in this thing. Basically, you got a movie crew at an abandoned high school that's shooting a horror movie, and then of course real life murders are occurring in the middle of all that. It's kind of a mid or lower tier slasher. I think it's okay. Not a whole lot there. I mean, it's not a memorable watch by any means. Directed by Bill Froelich. And I think this is it for old Bill, which kind of tells you something, right? 88 films release. There's a audio commentary track on here. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. Not a whole lot. Slasher films, the first thing you think of, well, was there any memorable kills? And there just wasn't. There wasn't any memorable kills in it. Next up, Tobe Hooper's underappreciated classic, Eaten Alive, about a Louisiana, I think it's Louisiana, or maybe South Texas. Supposedly this is based on a true story of a guy in South Texas that fed people to his pet crocodile. I don't know. Could be. Neville Brand plays a lunatic hotel motel owner. He's got a pet alligator, and he's feeding people. He's feeding the alligator after he uses that sickle he's got in his hand. Without Neville Brand, this is just, there's nothing here. This does have Robert Englund in an early role as Buck, who likes to, you fill in the blank, it rhymes. Neville Brand is the movie. I mean, he plays such a great, crazy lunatic. The film definitely has that same sleazy, dark feel to it that Texas Chainsaw had. And, so Tobe Hooper kind of going in the theme of those type films, he definitely has a feel for it, at least in the mid 70s. But I think Eaten Alive is a fun film. It's an interesting character study, well acted. Definitely, I think an underappreciated film. This is the old Dark Sky release. I don't have the Arrow Blu-ray. I'm going to give Eaten Alive, I believe, a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. And then finally, I went back to the Karloff Lugosi, this old DVD set, and I watched two films. I watched Zombies Over Broadway, which was a kind of they're back in the 40s. I mean, Abbott and Costello was so popular, and you had a lot of copycats. This was a copycat Abbott and Costello thriller with Bela Lugosi playing a mad scientist that creates zombies. And I think the guy that plays the zombie in this was also in the Val Lewton films. He's a real tall guy with big eyes. I mean, I think he was in it. It's pretty harmless stuff. It only runs about 67 minutes. Pretty tame stuff. The comedy's off. It doesn't work. And then I watched You'll Find Out, which is a 1940 film featuring an all-star cast. I think it's the only pairing of Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre. Early, just after their success with M and Dracula and Frankenstein. So, of course, later on, all these guys got paired up. But this was unusual and really nice to see Bela, Boris, and Peter Lorre at their prime, practically, together. It's a gangster murder mystery. Really, the substance of it is watching Boris and Bela. Bela plays as you can see, he plays kind of a psychologist, parapsychologist, kind of a magician type character. And you got Boris and Bela and Peter Lorre clearly working together to try to scheming and plotting in the film. But other than that, you've got an over excess amount of musical numbers to kind of pad out the running time. It's over 90 minutes. So, but yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10, just because it's such a great thing to see Bela, Boris, and Peter Lorre together. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for day 10, and I appreciate you watching.